You're a Lieutenant General in the South African Police Service.
Correct.
That's an extremely high rank.
Correct.
These days there seem to be a lot of Lieutenant Generals. In my day it was not quite so many. It was a rank that few people attained, but it appears that many people have now attained that rank. Nevertheless. And your job description is what exactly?
I'm the Divisional Commissioner of Supply Chain within the South African Police Service, with delegated responsibilities and other delegated responsibilities assigned to other members in other divisions, but the tender process remains mine. Governance, compliance, monitoring, evaluation remains mine, together with internal audit as an anchor.
It's quite a big job. A lot of work for one man.
Indeed it is.
It's also an important job that carries a large level of responsibility.
It deals with the purse of government.
Yes, it deals with taxpayers' money.
Sure.
And so it needs to be dealt with with a great deal of circumspection.
Sure.
Now, what bothers me, generally, is that throughout the day today, you've been saying things like, in my assumption, these processes were followed. I assume that they were competent. And I don't certainly expect you to know everything about everyone. That would be unfair. But certainly with a tender the size of this, I would expect you to become quite hands-on with ensuring that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. Did you do that?
We have been in the position to interrogate the information at our disposal. And based on what we have been in the position to adjudicate the tender, and we were satisfied at the Bid Adjudication Committee that indeed the I's and the T's have been dotted, have been taken care of.
I'm sorry, you appear to have misunderstood my question. Let me try again. Who is we? Are you referring to the royal we as yourself? Or are you talking about a group of people?
The Bid Adjudication Committee has members, and I'm part of the members of the Bid Adjudication Committee.
I presume you chair the Bid Adjudication Committee.
I am the chair. The role of the chairperson of the Bid Adjudication Committee is facilitation of the discussion in the committee, and all other responsibilities of the Bid Adjudication Committee make prominence in my function as well.
Where does the buck stop? With you?
The appointment of the Bid Adjudication Committee is that the Bid Adjudication Committee must adjudicate and award. It stops with the Bid Adjudication Committee, not me.
You're absolved of any responsibility?
The responsibility I have in the Bid Adjudication Committee is exactly the same as the responsibility of other members in the Adjudication Committee.
General, you either don't understand me or you're sidestepping me deliberately. I asked you what your job was. I asked you what your responsibilities are. And I want to know where the buck stops for tender procedures in the South African Police Service, and it appears to be with you. I'm not referring to Bid Adjudication Committees. We're talking about you.
The responsibilities with regards to procurement, I have some delegated functions, and some of the functions are with the accounting officer. The accounting officer has an ultimate responsibility, but he has delegated some of the functions to me, and I am carrying out those functions. The delegation of authority document clarifies other issues such as thresholds and whatever else that is clarified in that delegation documents.
So tell me then, who bears the responsibility? Which individual person, because there must be one, bears the responsibility for the mess that is this tender?
The irregular expenditure framework indicates that there must be a determination test done, and once the determination test has been done, there must be consequence management that's done. the determination test outcome or any other investigation will then determine who is at fault, and those people must then go through a consequence management process. The forensic investigation is underway, and once it is completed, we will then, with certainty, as indicated by the National Commissioner, we will then have certainty of who then takes the blunt with regards to the mess that we are in, if I were to quote what you said.
Yes, but I don't think anyone has any delusions about the fact that it's a mess. And someone is responsible for the wastage of a vast amount, yet again, of taxpayers' money. Would you agree?
Honourable Chair, one of the requirements of fruitless and wasteful expenditure is to determine whether there was value for money with regards to the tender, with regards to work that was done. The determination test was done. There was value for money. So the fact that the tender was irregular does not necessarily mean there was a wastage in terms of money. We did receive the service, and we have signed off the service that was received. It's critically important that the correct narrative is put out in the market, that irregular expenditure does not necessarily mean that money vanished. All that it means is that some of the legislative requirements have not been met, but the determination test determines whether there was value for money. And indeed, there was value for money. We have received services from the supplier, and there has been engagement with the supplier and the end user to determine whether the services were received and that money was paid. That misconception, I think we need to clarify. No money was wasted in this instant. However, the appointment of the supplier was irregular.
I'm not sure that it was irregular. I think that's probably putting it euphemistically. It certainly appears to me, and I'm sure other members here, that the appointment of the supplier was in all probability corrupt, which is a little more severe than irregular. Would you agree?
Until we receive the forensic audit, I will stick to what procurement prescripts determine, and which is irregular.
Yes. So you absolve yourself currently of all responsibility for this tender, the irregularity of it, and you don't consider it that it was your job to keep proper tabs on it?
My responsibility in this instance was to ensure that the bid adjudication committee does its job. In my opinion, the bid adjudication, with the information at their disposal, did the job. Whether there were other things in the bid evaluation committee, I must put it on record that because I'm the member of the bid adjudication committee, I cannot get involved in the bid. I'm the member of the bid adjudication committee. I cannot get involved in the bid evaluation committee matters. I have specifically stayed away from bid evaluation committee matters. If I do get involved in the bid evaluation committee matters, I must recuse myself at the bid adjudication committee. The procurement prescripts are very clear with regards to that. What I probably would have to go and do on my return to office would be to find a way, have a discussion with the National Commissioner and recuse myself from the bid adjudication committee so that I can make sure that the process right up to bid evaluation committee is done seamless. But the current setup does not give me permission to fiddle around with the bid evaluation committee. I'm not involved in the bid evaluation committee. I would have then transgressed because I can't be an evaluator and adjudicator at the same time. That's why we have put a layer of quality assurance to ensure that the quality is done properly. But that's a discussion I'll have with the National Commissioner upon my return to office.
Yes, well, that doesn't appear to have worked too well. Nevertheless, the Auditor General found with a specific bid that you think the bid adjudication committee did their job and did it properly and everything's hunky-dory. The Auditor General found that, in fact, there were 2 areas of non-compliance with this particular bid, yet it was still awarded. I'm sure you're aware of that. If you're not, I'll help you.
The involvement of the Auditor General. The Auditor General's involvement.
General, please, you talk a lot. You take a long time to answer relatively simple questions, and you're actually wasting time. And I'm not talking about the involvement of the Auditor General. So listen carefully. The Auditor General found in this process that you say the Bid Adjudication Committee did their job. He found 2 areas of non-compliance. Are you aware of it?
We have provided the Auditor General with the report, and they also audited post-award. Prior to the award, the Auditor General had not looked at the matter. They personally came to me during the auditing cycle and requested the documentation, and I provided the documentation. They would not have been aware of the process prior to us having found out through our own internal processes that it had irregularities. I do not agree.
Well, the Auditor General found that the bid was awarded to a supplier who did not meet all of the phases of the evaluation criteria, and he found that the tender was not advertised for the 21 days as required by procedures.
The internal audit report had already picked up on those. The Auditor General picked up already what had been picked up by internal audit.
So then
And we have spoken to that.
So then explain to me why you think it is that the Bid Adjudication Committee did such a wonderful job.
The Bid Adjudication Committee, Honorable Chair, with the information at their disposal, adjudicated this tender. And the information at the disposal of the Bid Adjudication Committee, I'm of the opinion if it was to be given to any other person, they would arrive at the same conclusion. What the Bid Adjudication Committee did not know about was irregularities that happened which did not filter through in the report. And that is what we have highlighted in this committee earlier on, that we need to look into that. I think the evidence leader has probed on that one, that some of the irregularities that filtered in the report, if they were not picked up by internal audit, the report, and they do not find prominence in the report, they would not have been picked up. And I have indicated yes, and I have indicated that.
No, you've already answered my question.
Yes.
Thank you. You can't just ramble on for as long as you feel like. I have no more questions. Chair, I'm saving the time for the Honourable Cameron, who has many questions to ask.
Honorable Ngola.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Vilakazi,
Molotat.
for the awarding of the Medicare 24 tender from Mr. Matlala.
No.
Did you ever receive a bribe from anyone in respect of the same purpose?
No.
Did you ever get an instruction from your superior
No.
that against all odds, Medicare 24 must be given that tender?
No.
Are you aware of the implications if found to have deliberately misled Parliament, the legal implications of that?
Correct, Honorable Chair.
Okay. Let's go to your paragraph 19 of your statement. You make mention that the end user is actually the one who nominates those who must serve in the bid specification committee. So is there a criteria that defines how the end user, or what criteria must the end user use to nominate those particular individuals, or is just subjective from that particular end user?
Honorable Chair, the nomination criteria for members to serve in the bid specification and bid evaluation is that they should be technically knowledgeable with regards to the procurement that is being embarked upon.
That's the only criteria.
That's the
knowledgeable and credible
Yes.
in terms of the procurement policy.
The reason why we appoint a chairperson and the facilitators from a procurement environment is so that they can bridge the gap with regards to the procurement knowledge.
Do you confirm that the people who served in respect of this particular tender, the people who served in the bid specification committee are knowledgeable and credible?
The members are operating in that space, and they are section heads in that space. They ought to have been knowledgeable with regards to the services that are required with regards to this. What made it easier for me with regards to this one, the section heads at the level of Major General who manage the section and who know exactly what needs to be delivered were part of the bid specification as nominated.
Are they
by-
credible?
There is no reason for me to doubt their credibility at that time.
Are the people serving in the bid evaluation committee credible and knowledgeable?
Knowledgeable, I would say yes. Credible,
You don't know.
I don't know. I do not have
not make
a
sure.
measure.
Are you not the one who's supposed to agree on the nominations of individuals to the BC?
I am.
So how do you not know if they are credible? If the policy instructs you to appoint people who are credible in the BC, how do you not know whether those people that would have been appointed in the BC are credible? What criteria was used? If you say the criteria is credible and knowledgeable.
We are using quite a number of things in our in the policing environment. One of the things that probably was used by the end user to nominate this was to look at their
No, let's
disciplinary.
leave the end user now.
Yeah.
The end user is already nominated.
Yes.
The ball is in your court.
Yeah.
You are the final arbiter of who must serve in the BC. Then are you confirming before Parliament that the people you would have agreed that they must be appointed to the BC are credible?
The criteria I use is knowledge, not credibility. It is expected of every member of the South African Police Service to be credible in their dealings.
General Fund. It's towards the end of the week for us to fight. It's in your statement. You say in your statement, the procurement policy instructs you or obligates you to appoint credible and knowledgeable people. So don't dismiss credible now.
Sure.
It's too late for you to dismiss credible now because you have done that statement under oath.
Yes.
Now, I'm saying, are you saying, confirming before Parliament, that the people who served in the bid evaluation committee are credible? You said they are knowledgeable. We have taken that.
Sure.
Are they credible?
I cannot vouch on credibility.
Okay, so you appointed people in the BC that you can vouch their credibility.
Correct, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. What does both the preliminary and the final internal audit results suggest about the credibility and the knowledgeability of those people?
It only single out the facilitator. It's very silent on the rest of the BC
Okay.
members.
That's fine. You say there are moments where you appoint consultants to assist the bid evaluation committee.
Ever since I got into the South African Police Service, we have not.
No, I'm saying, you say
Yes,
in your
in
statement.
the policy, yes.
In the policy says
Yes.
there are moments where you have to reinforce the BC with consultants.
Yes.
So, in your own knowledge or the information you have received, has this been done before or when you were there? How much has it costed? Because as I'm seeing it, it's what criminal lawyers would call a trial within a trial. So you have got a procurement within a procurement process. You are undergoing a procurement process for another item. Now you have to procure the services of the consultants to assist the procurement of this item. So that's why I'm terming it, criminal lawyers call it a trial within a trial. This looks like a procurement within a procurement.
In the 3.5 years of me being in South African Police Service, I have not appointed consultants to do our procurement. We have only, in line with the agreements we have with CETA activated some of the procurement in line with the CETA Act with CETA, and we have, in terms of knowledge of AMSCO, have asked them to do some of the procurement of some of the ammunition and firearm procurement. But in terms of sourcing services of consultant outside, we have not, in as far as I have been in South African Police Service.
Paragraph 22, you mentioned that drafting specification, which I agree with you, drafting specification of a tender, in particular of this nature, is too much technical because it's a healthcare related tender. It requires a technical skill. So, do you have an internal technical skill within the specification? Did you have, in respect of this tender, I don't want to generalize, did you have an internal technical skill in your bid specification committee that has led to the awarding of this tender?
The appointed bid specification committee have the technical skills required.
Okay. So all the specification processes that which you table on paragraph 24.3 have been followed. Paragraph 24.3.
I'm going through that.
You detail there a lot of issues in relation to the specification process and all that. So, in respect of this tender, was all that process followed in due course, and is the audit report in actual agreement with that?
All of them have been looked at, and they are there in the evaluation report. But there has been an audit finding on 24.3.1. Yeah, only on 24.3.1.
So there is only one aspect where the internal audit finding says this one was not adhered to.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe it will take us back to the credibility of your PEC members. Ne? Maybe we'll go there later. Since your appointment in the supply chain management unit, have you ever found officials colluding with service providers for purposes of awarding tenders?
No.
Have you ever found consultants, even if prior your arrival, ever been consultants who have been found to have colluded with service providers and bribed service providers to gain tenders, or most importantly, consultants colluding with service providers to give them information in respect of the specification, the budget, and all the stuff?
There's only one matter that I can recall where we have found that the suppliers on the panel had prior knowledge of the budget, and that's a recent matter that was highlighted to me by the acting head of DPCI, and we have dealt with that matter. We are dealing with that matter rather.
It's one incident.
That's the only incident that I can
recall. At what stage
recall.
is it now? How are you dealing with the matter, and at what stage is it now?
We have advised the end user. It was a few days prior to my departure. I have advised in writing the end user on the process that needs to be followed. They must report the case to SAPS, well, to a police station rather, and have a case number, and then they must then go through a process of making sure that they restrict the supplier if the supplier is found wanting, through the investigation that they need to have.
When are you going back to office?
I will be back on the 12th of December.
This year?
I probably would be back in office in January.
Okay. Will you be able to formulate a written report in respect only of this aspect of this process? To update the committee on the detail of what you have found and the consequence management steps that you are taking?
I have access to my emails. I'll prompt the Lieutenant General in that space to furnish me with what happened in that space in my absence, and then I will furnish that report. I would request the committee to send us a request, but I have noted.
You can whisper to that man on your right when you are done. It's going to give you the details. Okay, who is responsible on putting together the procurement plan that you regularly submit to the National Treasury?
The ultimate responsibility is mine. The needs are compiled by the end users. The demand manager or the component head demand puts together the plan. The process within the SAPS is that we present the plan to the National Commissioner, who is the accounting officer, for his sign off, and he does that, and we send it to the National Treasury for consideration.
No consultants?
No, we do it ourselves.
Do the items you submit in your procurement plan contain the specification of the item you are to procure and the cost, therefore?
We have cost estimates.
Cost estimates, yeah.
And we've got a service and a description of a service, not the specification.
Not
per
the
se.
specification?
No.
Okay. Chair, I'm not sure if News 24 is here. Last week they issued an article. This article suggests that Mr. Ket Vosumzimatlala leased or rented clinics or healthcare facilities from the SAPS 6 months before he was awarded the 360 million rands contract. Are you aware of that?
The article is incorrect. The rental of facilities is not done by SAPS. It's done by Public Works. Vosumuziket Matlala rented the facilities at Public Works.
Okay. But this is the crux of the issue. I get your point, and we did not say SAPS.
No.
This is the crux of the issue. The issue is there are healthcare facilities that are rendered by Mr. Matlala 6 months before getting the healthcare tender from SAPS. Is that report accurate? Is that report accurate that Mr. Matlala was given a lease for the use of healthcare facilities in the state before he was actually awarded a 360 million tender, 6 months before that? Is the report accurate?
That report is accurate.
Okay. They call him a tender prophet. They call him a tender prophet because only a prophet would have known that in the next 6 months, a tender requiring these same facilities would be awarded to me. Now, this actually raises a serious concern in the eye of the public. Because it suggests that 6 months before the SAPS undertook the process to award the tender, Mr. Matlala knew. As a result, he was preparing to work in respect of that tender. In the eye of the public, as we talk, me and you now.
Correct. I must put it on record, as I have indicated, Chair. We had no knowledge as SAPS how and the dealings or how Mr. Matlala acquired the facility at Public Works. All we know is that Public Works had indicated to us that we must vacate the facilities.
Because Mr. Matlala is coming.
They just informed us that there is a supplier appointed. And we refused to vacate the facilities because we have a need for the facilities. Under no circumstances was SAPS involved in the facilitation of the acquisition of that facility. From my perspective, my department under General Stolle is responsible for the lease. General Stolle had no knowledge of that, and we have advised the National Commissioner accordingly. The National Commissioner has written to Public Works on numerous occasions indicating to them that we will not vacate that facility, and that's the position that we are still holding even
So
today.
you were told to vacate the premises or the
We were-
facilities because the great prophet, Pastor Matlala, is coming.
We were told to vacate because a supplier has signed
So the supplier was not named.
No.
Okay. Okay. No, that's fine. Okay. Did this process undergo quality assurance? And what was the results thereof?
I'm not sure which process, sir.
The entire
Honorable Chair.
process of appointment from BC, the procurement process, was it quality assured?
I have indicated the quality measures that we have in the process. I have indicated that the bid spec has a quality assurance that sits. I have indicated that there's a level of quality assurance, pre-tender quality assurance. I have indicated post-tender closing, and prior to tabling at BC, there's 2 levels of quality assurance that takes place there. And we have, futuristically, there's probity now, but there are quality assurance processes that we have embedded in the process.
Were there any procurement procedures that were flouted in awarding the tender?
The internal audit has picked up that the suppliers that should have not advanced to the next level through the evaluation process have been advanced. Yes, the process
Has there been a
flouted.
consequence management effected to those found to be responsible for that?
I have indicated that the National Commissioner is waiting for the forensic investigation, and I think I preempt that his understanding is that he needs to have a holistic picture of who else was involved in the process so that we can have everybody going through the disciplinary process at once and not to have others left out of the process. And yes, in terms of the framework published by National Treasury, anyone that is found to have led a tender into irregularities, consequence management must be initiated and concluded.
Does the internal audit report say anything about your BEC people? Does it say anything about flouting or irregular process about your BEC people? Again, you are the custodian. Someone was here.
Of the BEC?
Someone was here
Yes.
who said, he had spectacles as well. It said, I'm the custodian of all dockets in the country.
Yeah.
So when now you are a custodian of all the BEC members. So are there any BEC members who would have been fingered in these procurement irregularities by the internal audit report?
No, internal audit report is silent in terms of who, but they have singled out the facilitator, and the facilitator can only be one person, but they have not mentioned the name. But they have indicated that the BEC and BAC, and I have responded to the evidence leader that consequence management would have to take place, and each member would then have to go and account.
You chair the BAC.
Yes, I do.
What measures do you take to ensure that every procurement process has been followed?
I do have the procurement. What I normally would do is to make sure that the processes pertaining to procurement process have been followed. I do make sure of that before the tender is advertised.
Just pause there. You'll continue. So you check if procurement processes were followed. Now let's take this part. We're going to proceed. Now, internal audit say No, in fact, there are procurement processes that were flouted. In a process where now you gave a thumbs up as the chair of the BAC. Do you think that consequence management must start with you? How would you have missed this great central thinking around any procurement process? That at least the process must be done. Then discussing who's given the tender is a different discussion, but the due process must be followed. Now, you preside over a tender that is given to someone with flouted procurement processes. What must SAPS do to you?
Honorable Chair, I have indicated that in terms of the documentation that was provided to us and the reasons that were cited in the report, we have no reason not to believe the information that was provided to us. Honorable Chair, I've also indicated that we have interrogated the report jointly as the Bid Adjudication Committee, and we found nothing untowards what was presented to us. I must indicate at this present moment that, and I think I have also indicated, that should there be any criminality that is built into the evaluation that took place, we might not be in the position to pick that in the procurement process, and that's where we are lacking, and we need to be in the position to have tools to be able to detect some of the criminality that may have been evident in the process. Passing a supplier that does not qualify for a criteria is criminality, and that should be condemned.
Okay. So you take the BEC report as it is, without verification, and adjudicate on the basis of what you affirmed as the BEC.
I have indicated, Honorable Chair, that the report was complete. What maybe we need to do, as I've indicated, in order to have seamless processes that happens at the Bid Adjudication Committee, was to include another level that will give us that verification. The documents that we receive are voluminous. We are unable to go to each document and verify every information that is in the documents. I have indicated, Honorable Chair, that it is impractical for Bid Adjudication Committee to go through each document that is provided. If that is the expectation of the committee, the Bid Adjudication Committee will have to be a standing committee, and their sole responsibility would be to do that. However, if there are any things that are presented in the document and they are untowards, Bid Adjudication Committee has a responsibility to do that. I have also demonstrated that we have, in some instances, I've demonstrated in the minutes where we have looked at and there were things that were missing, and we went back and requested that information. In this instance, the Bid Adjudication Committee members felt that they had sufficient information to adjudicate an award.
Do you agree with me that a tender process or procurement process can be done, concluded, and awarded within a space of 2 weeks after the closure of the advert?
In a normal environment, yes. The work of SAPS is of such a nature that the members of the bid evaluation committees might not be readily available to evaluate within a short space of time. But a normal tender process, 2-3 days, you can conclude the evaluation depending on the magnitude of a tender. But the availability of members of the bid evaluation committee vis-a-vis their responsibilities in the operational environment is the one that prolongs the process. It's one of the reasons that prolongs the process.
No, I was asking that because I don't understand why this rush to an extent that we even forget to follow the due process. The last issue is, are you aware of the referral of the tender to IDEC?
No.
Do you know that you don't know that the tender has been referred to IDEC for forensic audit?
I'm aware that it is referred to the forensic auditors, but whether that for the forensic auditors are IDEC, I don't know, but it could be.
Are you confident that that forensic audit result will not bring your name to have
I'm confident.
been at the wrong side of law.
I'm very confident.
Thank you very much. No further questions, Your Worship.